you guys are able to join us. Welcome to our second SPF Talks. You guys haven't figured this out. You know, we're trying to kind of go off the idea of those TED Talks, right? Not TED, but SPF. So we want to be a resource and be able to provide information to people that have HSP and PLS, that are living with a life of spasticity. So today we're letting all you guys hop on, share your camera if you would like to, keep your mics muted, please. And there will be opportunities for questions and answers. We will go through the process. We have Brittany Kasaba with us here today. And we are going to talk to you and remind you, as you guys are loading on, whether you're on screen or not, you can always add questions into the chat, and when time is right, we will, mention those questions, or we want you to feel free and comfortable to come on and show us your lovely faces so that we can see you smile and we can hear your question directly from you. You have an inflection in your voice, and we want to be able to hear that. We want to be able to see you. But as a reminder, if you will scroll your cursor down to the bottom, you will see all of those instructions that are at the bottom, and one is called a reaction. You guys remember this, right, from previous. You can throw us up a heart, or, a crying, happy. I don't know why I always make crying, laughing out loud. It's like you're crying, which that's okay. But also there is that little bar at the bottom that says raise your hand. So if you have a question, when the questions are ready to, to go to the questions, then please take time to raise your hand so that we can put the computer automatically put you guys in an order, and we will know then who has a question. And if you don't have that tech savvy opportunity to find that thing at the bottom, just kind of sit there with your hand raised, your finger raised, something, and I will know then that you're, wanting to ask a question, and we will get to your question, I promise you. We're going to try to stay, keep this to like an hour, and you guys can come back on another day, and we could do another SPF Talks about the hacks and tips and tricks and things that are helping us to live daily. Now I have someone over here in the chat thing saying, I can't hear you. Can everyone else hear her? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, wave at me. Yeah, all right. I see you. I see everybody waving that has thumbs up, Pamela. Thank you. I see everybody that's got their screen on that can wave and say hello. And so I'm not sure, Kendra, what's wrong with your computer, but you might have your volume thing turned all the way down. You might have your speaker or your audio not popped up correctly, so that's kind of part of what we're here for, is to kind of help you get comfortable with technology and help you be able to come on and get your technology working while we've got this just a few minutes here of startup. Eventually we would like to have an opportunity where we have a particular doctor on. And so part of what we're trying to help us all understand is Zoom etiquette. And that is, raising your hand when there's a question. So, if the doctors are on and there's 200 of us on these little bitty thumbnails, it's going to be hard for him to see all that. But if you raise your hand, then it kind of puts you in an order. So those doctors will be able to find you and see the questions. So it looks like everybody's kind of logged up. There's only a couple of folks that really doesn't have their screen on. And, oh, Lord, no, there's a second and a third page. So there's a lot of folks that is on that doesn't have their screen on, and that's okay. So you guys just feel comfortable where you are, whatever it is that you're doing this afternoon. But I would like to take a moment now to introduce to you our speaker. Our speaker is Brittany Kasaba. She is one of our new ambassadors from New Jersey. Thank you, Miss Brittany, for joining us this afternoon. Miss Brittany says to us that she has been diagnosed basically at about the age of 31, although she has known that she had signs of HSP since she was like 6, which, that's the story that we could all write, and pin out. That's about right. She's got a husband and 4 sons. God bless your
Oh.
heart for taking care of all those men. So she is very active, and that's probably a very good thing that you've got all those young men that can help you stay active in sports and keep your body moving and in motion. But she says that finding SPF, this is like music to my ears. Finding SPF was like someone finding their biological parents and finally making sense of what's happening with her body. So thank you so much, Brittany. And again, reminder, you got questions, click on the little raised hand thing, and I'm going to turn it over now to Brittany.
All right, thank you so much, Norma. Hello, everybody. So again, my name is Brittany. I'm a new ambassador to New Jersey. The reason why I wanted to be an ambassador and be so involved was to share my experience with everybody and be a point of support for people, because I didn't have that, and I wanted to have that and meet other people who had this, knowing that there wasn't just something wrong with me there. It's something that other people shared too. So the point of this webinar was to share some things that are hard to deal with on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, however often, but it's things that doctors don't know, the stuff that they can't tell you. So we have so much medical information out there, but they don't know what it's like to actually go through day to day dealing with all of these symptoms. They don't know because they don't have it. So, and I know there's so much medical information available to us, which is amazing through SPF. But again, the reason why I joined SPF and became an ambassador was to have the support from other people. Because I am the only person in my family who exhibits at the level that I exhibit at. There's some other people who have, maybe some tight Achilles, or her hands are always cold, but not enough that something's wrong. So this SPF really became my family when it came to having issues with their body. So I thought I would start with the bottom up in terms of the body. So starting with the feet, if anybody has anything that they want to share regarding their, bladder or anything else within like the abdominal region, then I was going to go to hands, and then the mental aspect of just getting through our days. So some of these are life hacks, shortcuts, little tricks of the trade, if you will. Some other things that I did have to talk about are just, amazing shoes, or like amazing pair of socks, things like that. Just things that make the day-to-day easier to get through. And I had this idea with Norma because I don't know anybody else to get ideas from other people, because I don't know. I've always just kind of dealt with it how I've dealt with it. I don't know how anybody else deals with this. So please do feel free to chime in, raise your hand, ask a question in the chat. I'm looking forward to a lot of conversation. So again, I'm just going to start off with feet. What I have found very helpful are these shoes. And if you're like me, shoe shopping is a nightmare and it's horrible. But I found this website. It's www.orthofeet.com. And they have men, women, all types of shoes, boots, dress shoes, sneakers, you name it. And they have a drop-down menu where you can choose what you're ailing from with your feet. So there's such a long list. And these shoes are so comfortable. It's like walking on memory foam. And I know because I have very high arches, because my ligaments and tendons, everything is so tight, that I have very high arches. So a lot of shoes are very uncomfortable, and I have very bad calluses. But Ortho Feet shoes, It's like walking on memory foam, but yet they're supportive. So that's an amazing resource for people who need to find shoes, who have problems with their feet, which I'm sure is probably most of us. The other thing that I have for dealing with issues with our feet, something that I really struggle with, is a sensitivity to heat and cold, especially cold. So my husband found all these heated clothes. So heated socks, heated shoes, heated pants, heated scarves, hats, gloves, everything. So they're amazing. So I get a lot of slip-on shoes, not laces, heated socks. And I find that just keeping my heart rate going, so just trying to be as active as possible, helps with the circulation issue and helps with the cold. And I know sometimes when I get really cold, warming my feet back up again can be very painful. So I have found to just rub my legs and not rub my feet, just to help the blood flow to get down there. And I'm not sure if anybody has any tricks or anything that helps with the blood flow and helps with the sensitivity to cold. But all I have is really rubbing the feet, rubbing my legs, and getting the blood flowing. So does anybody have any suggestions for like painful cold feet or hands?
Mary Schultz has been the first one to pop up a question, and then back next in line is Jackie. So Mary, why don't you go ahead? Unmute.
Okay. Actually, I was going to talk about overactive bladder, but I also ditto what you said about orthofeet.com. I have used them all, and recently my daughter married, so I wanted very comfortable shoes that looked kind of dressy. I ended up getting ortho heels from orthofeet.com, and you're right, it's like walking on memory foam. They were really comfortable. But the reason I was calling was just to put in my 2 cents about overactive bladder. My
okay, well, wait a minute, Mary, if you don't mind. Hey, if you don't mind regarding the bladder, let's stick with the feet, and then she's going to kind of go up the body. And when it's time to get to that anatomy part, then we can come back.
Yeah, I raised my hand as soon as I heard bladder, but I can wait.
Okay, thank you. Jackie, do you have something regarding feet?
I'm an ortho feet addict too. That's the only shoes I'll wear. And they got this new no tie shoe, and they're just like slip-ons, and you tighten them up, and that's the only thing I wear with my braces, which I can't stand without my braces. So, but regarding the circulation, I got this thing, and I got it on Amazon, and I can't think of the name of it. I'll have to go look. But it's, you put your feet on it. It's like a round thing, and you turn it on, plugs in, and it shocks them every little bit, and it makes sure you can see your muscles in your leg jumping, and it just gets it go. You can do that when you're sitting watching TV. And
is this supposed to be good for blood flow?
yes, and I feel so much better after I do it.
Really? And is it painful? Is it like electrical shocks?
Yeah, but no, it's not painful. You dial either it up or down. So I mean, you could do it where it hurts, but I don't want to do that.
Yes, no, of course. If you could look on your Amazon orders and see what that is, that would be great.
I'll just go on the other room and see the brand name. But yeah, it's Amazon. It wasn't that expensive, and it was
great,
completely worthwhile.
Awesome. This is the kind of stuff that I really wanted to hear about, because I'm sure not everybody knows that this stuff is even out there. Yeah. So we should really be sharing. I really appreciate it, Jackie. Thank you.
I also wear compression socks too. I got those on Amazon too, and they're just, you don't have to get the ugly tan compression hose. You can get tie-dye socks if you want. So
sure. I tried those. I really didn't feel that they worked that well. I didn't really feel that they were doing anything. I
But they,
found just like wrapping them in like really thick socks and just kind of keeping them moving, even if I'm just sitting at my desk or something, just like wiggling the toes, trying to flex my feet, like roll them
right.
around.
And the most you can stand, the better. I mean,
Yes, true.
you
Yeah,
know,
I found one
I
of those desks at work that you can either stand at or sit at. And I don't know if anybody else has those desks, but they are great because I can stand for a while. And then if I get, if my joints start to hurt, then I sit for a little bit. And then when my hips start to hurt and I start to get a little stuck, I stand back
yeah.
up again and stretch back out.
Uh,
If anybody can have those desks, they're really a lifesaver when you're sitting in an office all day.
I'll go run out and see what brand it is right now.
Thank
Okay.
you, Jackie. And then we could type that over in the notes in the chat. So
Absolutely.
Miriam, am I
Hi.
saying your name correctly, dear?
Yes, you are. Hi. So,
Hi.
hi. I just want to say about feet. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. When my feet get cold, I have heated socks. You plug them in to charge a little battery, and you put but the thing I want to know is, does anybody else have this? I try to move as much as possible, and although I'm stiff, I walk a lot, and my feet, my toes don't lift. Right? It's like a shuffle.
Mine too.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a shuffle. And all of my shoes, no matter what brand I get, have a big hole after about 2 months. I try to walk 1 or 2 miles a day just to keep moving with my walker,
Good for
But
you. That's awesome.
oh yeah. But I just went on a trip to DC and walked everywhere, but my shoes got holes. So I'm just now buying cheap shoes because I was buying $100 shoes and they still got Nikes, doesn't matter, whatever. So I'm wondering if anybody else has found anything with the soles are thick enough so they last more than a month. When, because I shuffle, there's just no way around it.
Right. Have you tried ortho feet? Because they're
No,
pretty thick.
I'm going to look. I have not tried.
Yeah.
it.
Look
Okay.
into it. It's something that I just got familiar with more recently, and they're like my new favorite thing. I'm obsessed with their shoes. So
Okay.
try it because they are pretty thick.
So you shuffle too? You tend to shuffle?
I shuffle. It depends on how active I've been. If I've been
Exactly.
doing a lot of sitting and I haven't been keeping up with some stretching, I
Yeah.
shuffle too. Yeah, because I don't lift my toes. I'm
It-
almost completely a toe walker.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. And it's worse at night than in the morning. So in the morning, I can tend, my legs will bend a little bit more, so I'm able to, but the nighttime, it is what it is, so just have to get the shoes.
Exactly.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Miriam.
I'll look.
Thank you, Miriam. Hey, so I want to tell you over here before I call on Chloe next, we have Kendra that says, or Jody says, getting shoes and socks on, I guess, is difficult. Kendra says, I also use Friendly brand shoes. They have zippers, so I can get them on easier with my AFOs. My doctor has me using compression socks for that.
Yeah.
So Lee says I use compression socks as I have bad circulation in my legs and feet swell, makes getting shoes on easier. Rhonda and Phil says surgery solution to high arches, triple orthodesis procedure works for high arches or flat feet. Kendra come back and says I use a HIDOW system, HIDOW system for TENS and EMS. And then Lee says need an AFO for foot drop. So, these things are going on. If you guys see all of these things going on in the chat, you might want to keep an eye over there. And if I missed one of those, then, come back and type it again, and I'll try to keep up with all that's going on the scroll. But in the meantime, let's ask Chloe to unmute and go right ahead with your question or your comment about feet.
Not question, but more so a comment here. Because I was recently diagnosed with HSP last year, but my orthist and everything, because I walk with a foot orthotic, she recommended Bionic. The only thing is that my shoe is kind of like, the toe drag and everything. But also I stumbled across Amazon. They sell it on Amazon, but it's called Prop It, and they make sandals wide widths for people that need foot orthotics and AFO users, and they have removable footbeds and everything. And also my local department store, Dillard's, I'm going to see if I can find it on Amazon and pop everything in the chat. But when I wear this, whenever I wear the orthotics and everything, I constantly have to wear socks. But the thing is that socks with sandals looks more like an older dad bod vibe type of thing. I found these, they're called flat socks, and basically they slip over any orthotic or any type of AFO or anything, or just any type of shoe that needs you to wear socks, but you don't want to wear like socks where it gives you that kind of vibe and everything. But yeah, I just figured I'd share.
Thank you, Chloe. What was the name of those sandals?
Prop it, but
Prop
the
it.
E has like an accent over it.
I'm gonna look those up.
And
Yeah,
like
'cause it's hard to find sandals too.
like everything else, they're very pricey, but you know, that's the cost for being disabled.
Yes,
Well,
so
Chloe,
true.
before we let you go on your comment here, if you don't mind, as you're looking at some of those other things, those two things that you popped up and showed us, those kind of shoes and that what you call the sock,
Flat
pop
socks.
those over in the chat as well. And what we'll try to do is collect that information, and then we can try to maybe have that available on an email as a follow-up, or we're actually taping this, so I didn't want to scare any of you, but we're actually taping this so that we can go back and hear it and see it and listen to it again. But that would be helpful if you could put that information over in our chat box.
Totally.
Thank you, dear. Hey,
No
Pamela,
problem.
go right ahead. Let you ask or make a comment, questions or comment about feet.
Sure, thanks. What I was going to say is there's a shoe company out of the UK called Hotter, Hotter. They have wonderful shoes. It is also like walking on a cloud with their insert, but you can take it out, and if you have an orthotic, you can put that in there instead. And they have just wonderful colors. I found one trainer or tennis shoe that works for me, and that comes in so many colors that I've got a whole closet full. And the other thing that's really nice about it, they also have ones that have zippers along the side, so you can set and it laces, so you can set it where you want it and then just zip. And as your feet expand during the day, you can always let it out with the laces. That was it.
Oh, nice.
That is
Yeah, I
fantastic.
always find it helpful. I don't know if you guys too, but even if I'm sitting at work and just watching TV, I don't have to take my shoes all the way off, but I can slip them even just halfway off.
Yeah.
Makes such a big difference sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to roll them around. Yeah, just let them expand a little bit, wiggle the toes. It makes it feel so much better.
Yeah.
Hey, Pamela, same thing
Yeah.
as Chloe. If you don't mind, go ahead and put that kind of information over in our chat box. Then
Okay.
other people can see that. They can Google it real quickly, and they may even have questions they might want to come back and ask you about. So
Sure.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Hey, Kendra, you're joining us with a comment or a question. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna just show y'all these shoes because I wear AFOs. Let's see if I can turn my camera around. I'm gonna show you. Is it turning around? Nope, it's not. Well, I went to I live in Houston, Texas, and I went to the Abilities Expo, and there's a booth with these shoes. Yeah, I wear AFOs, but they have laces. I don't know if you can see laces, but the zippers right here makes it so much easier to get on because I have a hard time reaching my feet. I'd show you, but I have my TENS unit on right now. But I really
that's
like
fantastic.
these, and the soles are kind of thick and soft, so it's very helpful.
Yes, that is very helpful, Kendra. If you don't mind, pop the name of that shoe over in the chat box, and then we can collect that information, and they may be just some additional resources. And you don't think about this. I think about this because this is something that I have to deal with. But, any of those kind of shoe companies, they might be willing to donate to our annual conference. They might want to be a sponsor. They may want to come and set up a booth, or they may even want to provide a couple of those as door prizes.
Shoe goo on the
So
wheels.
those are things that
Carry
those
on.
are things that as you guys are looking at different things that help you, you know, keep that in mind. So yeah, pop that name over there for us, Kendra, and we'll take a look at that as well. Thank you. Go ahead, Christine, you're next up on the list.
I just have a couple of comments. Brittany was saying the stand-up desk works really well. Well, this kind of goes back to my talk. The stand-up walker with the stand-up desk is excellent. It lets you stand up, it gives you the support, and you can sit down and use the stand-up desk. So it lets you stand up longer.
Oh, that's great.
My second comment, I have the same problem with the shoes. I found that I tried to find like cheaper shoes. I found that Fila, F-I-L-A, sneakers, that the soles seem to last a little longer and they're not overly expensive.
That's good to know.
Awesome.
My last thing, I had a question for everyone. I wanted to get one of those compression massage units for your entire legs and your feet. Does anyone have any comments about that? Because it's kind of expensive, but it sounds like it would be a great thing.
That looks like what Kendra had on.
Yeah, I don't have any experience with anything like that, but Kendra, do you?
Yeah, so I just bought this. Let me turn my camera around. I don't know if it's blurry. This is the brand. I just bought one of these, and actually it's really, really, really super helpful. There's not a lot of scientific studies done with this. I'm sorry, it's an HSP, but it massages. It's a compression. It goes on both legs, and it has a mode here where you can do different, there's sequence, circulation, and whole, and the air pressure is max, mild, and minimum, and then you can do heat, minimum, and max. And I always do circulation because my legs turn purple all the time, especially when I'm in, I don't know why it turns purple when I'm in so much pain, but it does. But they would go on both feet and they just plug into the wall, and it helps a lot. And it's a 30-minute session. It automatically cuts off after 30 minutes. Now, at first, you want to start it on low because I felt like high was a little bit too much at first. So I started on low, and then after a week, I went to medium, and now I'm on high. So I feel like high gives me the most, it puts the blood back up. And my legs won't be purple when I'm done with this. Like my legs will start purple, and then I'll put these on. And then after my 30-minute session, my legs aren't purple anymore. But these are kind of expensive. I bought, luckily this was on clearance, so I was able to get it. So.
Wow. And Kendra, how long does it like stay helping your circulation? Like how long do your feet stay not purple?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I have two very rare diseases. I also have Addison's disease, along with hereditary spastic paraplegia type 6. So it affects a lot in my system. Like I'm losing my vision and my hearing, and my bladder don't work. Like I have a complicated form of it. And then the Addison's exacerbates it because Addison's also causes muscle soreness and muscle loss. So I have two diseases that affect my muscles tremendously. I actually have a wheelchair already. I try not to use it. I'm walking right now, which is why I got these knee braces on. But I feel like it helps for the rest of the day. I don't want to do it in the morning because it does make my feet tingle. And I'm on gabapentin for feet tingling already. So I really don't like that. But I like that it helps with the pain, so I deal with the tingling of the feet in order for my legs not to hurt and feel blowed up like a balloon that needs to pop.
Awesome. I really appreciate you sharing.
Very good information, lady. Thank you so much. And I went over and took Christine. Did I finish up all your comments there?
You did. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna lower your hand, and then we'll come back, Kendra, if you've got something else to add. But there's a couple of folks over here in the comment chat that you guys might want to look at. Hang on just a second, Malin, and I'll get to you. The Sportsman's Goop. There's some people that have put over in the bottom that said, or on the chat that says Sportsman's Goop, G-O-O-P, that they can use that to cover the tips of their shoes. It does wear off, but you can keep it on so that your shoes don't get holes in them. So that's a very good tip. I thank you for that. So hang on, everybody. We've got Malin down here at the bottom that we're going to let him come on in and talk. Go ahead, sir. You have
Thank
a
you very
question?
much. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
I'm a physician, so I have some medical background here, and I also have had HSP for 35 years. So I've done pretty much everything, and you may find some of your answers if you look at the old synapses. I've written 30 articles in Synapse about all the kinds of day-to-day problems. The shoe answer is this shoe here. It's called a Zebra shoe, and the Zebra shoe is made in China. I found it accidentally on the internet. It costs about $120. It's worth every penny of it because I'm going to turn my sound off so I can use both hands. This shoe has a hinge in the heel. If you put your shoe on your foot on top of it and push down, the hinge goes down, the heel goes down, your foot goes into a flat shoe, and then the hinge pops the heel back up. Watch this.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, interesting. You can
shoes
slide
on
your
I put
foot
my shoes
in.
on this morning in 3 seconds. They sit on the floor, I put my feet and I push down and the heel pops back. And there's no laces, nothing to tie. You tie the laces once. The day you buy them, you never touch them again. And so it's worth the price of having these solve the problem. I've invented all kinds of shoes with Velcro wrappers to get them on. No attention, no treatment, no handling is required. Just put your foot in and press down. And I look forward, in fact, if any of my experience would be interesting to anyone else, I'd be very happy to host one of these sessions for you. Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Malin. We're going to take you up on that, sir. So thank you so much. And again, you guys, I can't remind you enough to check over in the chats if there's a way that you guys can see all of that, because those websites are scrolling in the chat boxes. And we're going to come back, and I think, Jody, you got a question or a comment that you would like to make? Go ahead, please. Turn your microphone. There you go.
I just unmuted. I'm glad to see you here, Malin, because I read your article a couple of years ago about those shoes, and I was wondering how they were doing. Can you put them on by just standing on them and sliding your foot in?
Yes, although I have invented a inclined plane. There's a little thing about a foot square on the floor which tilts upwards. And since I'm in a wheelchair or a scooter all the time, I don't stand very much. I can sit from my seat in the wheelchair and put my foot out in an inclined way, and it's much quicker to do that. I also have invented devices for getting dressed, putting the socks on, getting my pants on, undressed. Every little gadget that you can think of, I have in my house. So I'd love to discuss all of that at some later time.
I have a number of gadgets too. And I have a great deal of trouble getting shoes and socks on because I can't put my foot on the other knee. It just doesn't want to be there. So I have leg lifters and stuff that I pull on. And if I'm holding my leg up, I have only one hand available to deal with shoes or socks. I was wondering if people who use compression socks had tips for tools to use, because they can be very hard to get on if they're really tight. I have to stretch my socks out and then kind of manipulate them on with one hand. It's very, very frustrating.
May I comment for a moment about that?
yes, please.
Yes, I went through compression socks. I've been through every kind of socks. Not too hard to get on. It's a struggle to pull them on. Getting them off is really simple. I take a pair of scissors and make a cut down the top of the compression sock and throw it away. So I share your frustration with compression socks. My great solution I discovered a couple of months ago, they do make an ace bandage, but it doesn't require metal clips in which you lose. This ace bandage has a strip on the edge with Velcro. And you can buy 5 or 10 pairs of these. And I use these every single morning now. And I put them on. It takes about 2 minutes to get them on in the morning. I can make them as tight as I need to. And it solves the whole problem of the feet swelling, which since I'm in a chair all day, my feet are pretty big at night if I don't have some kind of compression.
That is some very
do you
good advice.
your feet from a sitting position?
I'm sorry, repeat that again.
Can you reach your feet from a sitting position?
Yes, there's a bit of a stretch, but I can get down there. Not quite as far as low as I would like, but it's good enough for most of my legs. It's important to avoid blood clots, which are a problem if you're sitting all day.
It sounds
Yeah.
like maybe we should have a whole nother webinar just for
Feet.
for feet and for people who are in wheelchairs and just tricks, just had to get through day to day just for that, because that's a totally separate, that's like a whole nother world for people who aren't mobile and people who are mobile in terms of, simple things like getting your socks or shoes on.
That's exactly right. And we've already been looking and talking about, we may need to have hack number 3, 4, 5, we may just have to
seems like
focus
it.
on one particular body part and then come back. So, this is just wonderful that everybody's got ideas and thoughts and tips. And so Jody, have you answered and made comments on what you need to say? I need to move on to Aviva.
I have one other question for the floor. And that is,
Okay.
I have a lot of trouble getting my feet onto the bed, getting into bed and getting my feet up.
Yes.
I think there is
Okay, we're gonna-
some sort of a swing that I think some people use. I've seen. I think you install it in your, I want to say maybe ceiling, or they have some portable ones. I know a gentleman who's a quadriplegic, and his parents use it for him because he's very tall. He's a big guy. And it's on a stand, and it has almost like a hammock. And they sit him in the bed and then put his feet in this swing and then just swing it out over. I can find out what that is. I'm not exactly sure what it is or what it's called, but it seems to work, and it's the only way that they can get him into bed.
It's called a
Hello?
lift, a Hoyer
Hello?
lift. Is that true?
I can help you.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Russ Majors. And
Okay.
what you need is a board. They have a board made now, which enables you to sit down and slide into the bed with. It's a rectangular plank, and you can put it on the wheelchair, and you slide across the board onto the bed.
She said that she has environmentalists on her team, and she's gonna.
Oh, wait, somebody needs to mute.
In Long Beach, and she tried.
Someone needs to mute because they're talking over the top of everybody. You might want to check that, whoever is talking.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. My name is Russ Majors.
We can hear you, Russ. Go
And I
ahead.
Okay, I thought you might help yourself. There's a device, it's rectangular. They make them about 2 feet long, and they have handles at either end. You have a seat. If you're on a wheelchair, you have that board underneath, and you can slide by lifting the side handle of the wheelchair. You slide with your rump onto the bed, and then you can pivot around and swing your feet up as you go. So the board helps you get out of the bed that way. They're planks, they cost about $40, but they're available on the internet.
I see in the chat, it looks like it was called a slide board.
I think it's called a slide board. Slide board. It's rectangular. It's made out of like oak, hardwood, but it's thin and it's supportive, and you could use that to help yourself with. Why don't you try that?
What if I can sit on the bed and put my feet on a stool, but I can't swing my feet up on the bed.
Okay, here's the problem. As you're sitting on the bed, you're slightly sagging down. if you're sitting on top of the flat plank supports you and enables you to pivot, see?
Gotcha.
You're sitting on a flat board, that'll help you. I did it myself. I weigh 200 pounds, so I know what it's like.
Thanks.
Works like a
Russ.
charm.
Well,
Thanks,
that's a great idea. And what we may need to do is to look at maybe getting some photos of those and sharing that with you guys. So thank you so much, Russ, for providing that.
Okay.
That could perhaps maybe Jody can look at that and see if that's an option for her. And maybe
Yeah,
some of
there's
the
a lot of
others too.
Yeah, there's a
There's
lot of
different
comments in the
links.
chat as well about it. It looks like there's a lot of links that people are chiming in on as well.
Right. Now also, they have these cushions for like if you're watching the fireworks, where there's square cushions and there's a piece of plywood inside the cushion underneath the sponge. So when you sit down on the ground, it doesn't just flatten out on you. If you take one of those square plywood sheets out of the cushion, I use that to swing in myself. That's a square shape. So it depends on what's more comfortable for you, what fits and works better for you. But either the square or the rectangular will work.
Thanks,
That is
Russ.
good to know. Thank you so much, Russ. We're going to move
Okay,
on
I hope
to
that works.
Viva. You want to give your comment, please?
I'm sorry?
Unmute yourself. We're going to move to Viva and let her make a comment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just hold on there.
so Zeba shoes was what I was going to say, but my Zebas. But I also have a question about AFOs, but it changes the conversation and I can do it at another time.
I
No,
think
it's
we will
about
have to have
feet,
another
so those-
webinar for sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Aviva.
Okay, so I recently got an AFO and I find that the stabilizing for the part of my leg is wonderful, but the flip side of that is that it doesn't allow for my for flexibility, and I'm finding that it's really hurting my knee. So my question is, for other people with AFOs, do you have anything like this? Any suggestions?
I had AFOs when I was a teenager because I was having such a hard time and I was really active. And I found the same thing to my knees. And I went to physical therapy and just strengthened up my calves, my knees, my quads, my glutes. I strengthened everything else around it. And they actually introduced me to yoga and said, you just have to stretch out. And just try to be as flexible as possible because your knees aren't used to being at that angle and being used in the correct way. And now that they are, it's putting a lot of strain. So that's what helped me get through it. It was just wearing them kind of often and just learning how to re-walk basically and strengthen everything else up around it. So it's not so much strain on my knees.
A brief comment from Malin
Yes, Malin, go ahead.
about orthotics. One of the purposes of the orthotic, my daughter also has HSP and she has these gadgets on her knee which flexes her toes. The zebra shoe, which I'm showing you, notice how the tip of the shoe goes up. You don't accidentally, this is not on purpose by the manufacturer, but you don't trip on door thresholds and things. The tip of the shoe is up where you normally would catch it on something on the floor. So this reduces the fall significantly. And that's the main purpose of many orthotics, is to raise the toes so you don't trip. This zebra shoe handles that problem.
I have Zeba shoes and I use them with the AFO. And I love my Zebas. So thank you.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Aviva, for having comments and questions. And we're going to keep this rolling. So there may be some more comments that are going to come back and maybe have some more tips and hacks for what you have brought up. Jackie, do you want to come back now and got a question or a comment? Unmute and join us.
Okay, I went out and looked and it's REVITATE. And they've really gone up in price. I've had mine for 5 years. But there's a whole bunch of different brands. You could spend from $50 to $300. So just look, just search on Amazon for devices to increase my circulation, my legs.
There you go. Thank you so much.
And
Candace,
also,
you
I have
got-
one more thing. Somebody mentioned their knees. I had that problem, and I've seen probably 20 different physical therapists over the years. But I had my tendons. It's called a Z-plasty. It's your Achilles tendon is tight. It's pulling in your knees and pulling them back. And I had those stretched. And I also had my toe tendons cut to keep them from curling. So, but
Me
it's
too.
not for everybody. It's a very painful. And it's 6 weeks of healing. And it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments. Candace, you got something you want to add? Or yeah, Candace?
Hi. I'm actually new to this. My mom passed away of HSP and it runs in our family. And when I walk, my left foot, drops like I have a drop foot and I don't know how to fix it when I walk. I have orthotics for the inserts of my shoes, but nothing seems to work. And I just don't know what else I can do to help it so I can walk. It's like I have a drop foot and I walk on the inside of my foot and then it'll roll outward. And so I don't know if there's something that anybody knows of that can help me. I've gone to PT and stuff and they just don't really help me with it.
Have you tried AFOs as opposed to just orthotics in your shoes?
No, I haven't.
It may be worth a shot only because the AFOs will provide the support that you won't roll your ankle. But maybe Kendra may know better than this, and she's has a lot of braces.
Candace, thank you so much for joining us today. And, part of us are also new to this and, having to deal with the day-to-day issues of living with HSP and PLS. That's what we're all here trying to learn and trying to do. So thank you for your comments and your heartfelt your expressions. And I think Kendra is kind of sitting over here in the wings to give a comment about what we're talking about here. Can you see her? Is your computer device allowing you to see the thumbnails of people?
I can see, let's see, I think I'm on my phone. I'm sorry. I can see.
All right, well, I'm gonna spotlight Kendra so that you can see what she might want to show you. Kendra, you're front and center.
Thanks. All right, hey, first off, I want to say I'm really sorry about your mom. That's really sad, but there is hope. I was diagnosed in 2015. I struggled my whole teenage years. They thought I had bone cancer and sent me to MD Anderson. It wasn't until I was an adult that they finally did a chromosome test. And what caused my HSP was I have a chromosome deletion. It's called 15q.3 microdeletion, and it caused this. And my son also has it. He's 10. But I'm gonna show you my AFOs. I have drop foot. My right side's more affected than my left. So they originally thought I had a stroke, but I didn't. But I have AFOs. I'm gonna turn my camera around and I'm gonna show you because I have drop foot really bad. And I also go to physical therapy and I go to the gym to try to get help. But these are my AFOs. They're custom made. They molded them to my leg. See if I can get them off the shoe. They have hinges right here. What?
Yeah, I was gonna say, move a little slower, Kendra. Move
I'm
very
sorry.
slow. Yeah,
Okay.
right there. Now that's perfect focus. Candace, can you see that?
So I chose the hinges over not hinges because it allows me to walk more normal. So as my foot goes, it pops my foot back up so that I'm not tripping over my toes. See the hinge? It hinges. And then when my foot goes up, I wish I had like another hand. Maybe one of my 5 children can come to see. Let's see this. So as I walk, it goes like this, and then it comes back up. See how it? I don't know if you can see how
see that?
See that? That's sense.
Yeah.
Very flexible.
Yeah, and then
Thank
so
you.
it don't pinch me. I do have to wear thick socks so it don't pinch the back of me. And I also had them put this little thing right here. It's just another like soft little spongy thing so it don't rub a blister on my foot.
Skin,
Yeah.
like a moleskin.
Yeah, it's like they got like a thick foam and then like a sheepskin or something on top of the foam. I've had these since 2015. It's time for some new ones. But they just go, these
Well,
are my
they look
zipper shoes. So I just slip them in
they,
there. And then
they
with
look
my
like a
feet,
godsend.
yeah, they really are. I use them all the time. And then with the zipper, sorry, because my drop foot is hard. I just slide my foot in there and then I can just zip it up, you know, and then I'm done because I have a hard time like trying to tie my shoes. And then this needs to be replaced because it's really old.
Sure.
But this helps with my drop foot. Now, at first, do not, whatever you do, because you're going to be so discouraged. And I don't want you being discouraged because I did it. So learn from my lesson, from my heartbreak. So they told me wear it for 30 minutes at a time to acclimate. And I was like, oh, I was like 20 at the time, you know, and overwhelmed. And so I didn't listen. I wore this thing all day and I had so many blisters. It was unreal. Do not try to like just wear them all the time when you first get them. Really listen to your doctor and acclimate yourself to them. Wear them for 30 minutes the first day, wear them for an hour the next day, and wear them from 2 hours the next day, and get your body used to the way it feels.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kendra, for sharing that in your story. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.
Thank you, Candace.
You're
so
welcome.
Now we've got Lee. Lee, come on and tell us what it is that you want to talk about regarding feet.
Well, mine was pretty much the same thing as Candace. It started out about a year and a half ago, where I was constantly tripping over everything because of the drop foot. So between my physical therapist, my neurologist, they hooked me up with a local company that does orthotics, and I got my AFO for my left foot. That basically stopped the tripping and falling from that. I've got PLS, so I mean, I can't walk without support because I have no balance whatsoever. Then I started developing drop foot in my right foot. So then I got an AFO for my right foot, and then my left knee, because of the muscular atrophy, my left knee, the tendons in it were just wearing out. My left leg is half the size of my right leg. And because of that, I was getting, for lack of a better term, snap back, where every time I took a step, my knee would slap backwards and it would look like I was an ostrich, where my knees were on backwards. So then I went to a KAFO, and what they did was, between the AFO at the bottom and the KFO portion around the thigh, they attached a strap in between there, and it restricts my knee from slapping back so that it stays straight. It doesn't hyperextend backwards. And my neurologist said, you're probably not going to like it. Most people don't like it, or they can be uncomfortable and all that other stuff. But what a godsend, just having that. So walking around with an AFO on my right leg, which now I'm starting to get snapped back on my right knee. So I may be in 2 KAFOs. And within about a year, I went from a cane, and now they're looking at a wheelchair. So I don't know how it's going to go as far as the full KAFO on my right leg, but they said if you do go into a wheelchair, that I can get away with just the AFOs on both my left and my right, and use it for support if I have to stand up and do something or whatever. But if I need to walk, I'd have to throw the full KAFO on.
Well, thank you for
so
sharing
much,
that, Lee. And good luck with all of that. We certainly understand.
Oh yeah, and when I first got the AFO, you know, and they said, oh, you need an AFO and all that other stuff, I thought my life was over. I thought, oh, this is it. I'm never going to be able to adjust to it and all that other stuff. But like I said, once you accept that this is how your life is, it's been a complete change in my outlook on everything.
I
So
appreciate
so
you
good to
saying
hear.
that, Lee. That
Don't-
is such an important part, is just acceptance.
yeah, don't get
The mental
depressed.
aspect is huge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't get depressed. Don't be, you know, all right, so you need assistance, just take the
That's
assistance
okay.
and, you know, keep moving. Whatever it takes to keep moving, just do. That's the only thing you do.
I
That's
love that you said that.
exactly
Thank you
right.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Mhm.
We have Dawn now waiting over here in the wings, wanting to make a comment. Go ahead, Dawn.
Couple of things. I'm sure no one here ever heard of me. One of them is called an easy EZY-AS. This is a tool to help put on compression socks.
There you go, Jody. Are you listening?
It works quite
Go
well.
ahead, Dawn.
The other aspect is, and you can Google those, there's a number of different suppliers. The other aspect was to Google leg lifter strap. And you'll find a number of different straps that are available, which will help you shift a leg onto the bed with the strap. This is something that the late Ronnie Grove used extensively while she was living. She had one leg that would not work, and she would have to lift it onto the bed, and that worked quite well for her.
That is so good. What was that second item? Tell me again.
Leg lifter strap, S-T-R-A-P.
Okay, leg lifter strap. Got it. Thank you so much, Dawn. This is the little tidbits and hacks and things I think that is all very important for us. So thank you so much for that. Let's see who's waiting in the wings for more comments. Okay, I think we've got everybody's questions, comments.
Oh, good.
All of that. Reminder to go ahead and be looking over in the chat box, because there's all kinds of information that's scrolling so quickly that it's really kind of hard for me to keep up with that as myself. So, Brittany, let's turn it back over to you. And if you want to go now, back up the body.
Fabulous. Yeah, I do want to mention there, if everyone can see the chat, you can view it by putting the cursor at the bottom of the Zoom meeting and just make it a little bit bigger. At the bottom right-hand corner of the chat window, there's 3 little dots, and you can actually save the chat, and then that way you can go back and look at things, because there's so many things going on in the chat that we're not actually discussing here. And I know there's just so much, and I really appreciate everybody participating. One other thing that I did want to talk about regarding feet, even before we move back up, is just balance. And I know I have a terrible time with balance, especially if I close my eyes, forget it. I'm falling over in a second. But one thing I found with helping with balance and my feet is just being so aware to try to get as much of my foot and all 5 toes on the floor, and using the AFOs, and also just strengthening everything else up, and just being aware that, you know what, I can catch my balance. You know, I can put my arms out to balance me, or just using other muscles in the body that maybe haven't been affected yet from neuropathy, and just strengthen everything up. I know that was something that was brought up in the chat. So if anybody else wants to also discuss their issues with balance, maybe, we should have another webinar, or feel free to reach out to other people in your state, your ambassadors, and have another chat. I was going to work up the bodies. So the next thing that I have, if anybody wanted to discuss or has any issues with, who wanted some help, is the bladder or any other parts within the abdominal region. I know bladder, incontinence is a problem that everybody has. I know Mary said that she wanted to mention something about the bladder. Mary, did you want to talk about it? I think you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was looking for my unmute. I just want to say two quick things. One is my specialty doctor referred me to a urologist for Botox. And before we went to Botox, she said, try this medication. And I was very trepidatious and incredulous, but it's called Bladder, and other people within SPF have used it also. It has been a total game changer for me. And I also advocate physical therapy just devoted to bladder issues.
Really?
You can get, if you go to physical therapy, you can do a search for, like physical therapists that specialize in neurological issues. And that's great because they can do gait analysis and they can tailor exercises and stuff for you. But I did physical therapy just for bladder issues. And I used that instead of titrating up the dosage of the medication I was taking. I used physical therapy to supplement what I was taking, Myrbetriq. And, the two of them were great.
That's awesome.
I just wanted to offer that up.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Jackie, you've got a comment?
I also have done the physical therapy for bladder, and it's so helpful. They can do biofeedback, they teach you exercises, and you don't even think that it would help you that much, but increasing the strength of your pelvic floor muscles is key. And I also do Botox, which is a wonder drug. I do it in my legs and my bladder every 3 months, and I love my Botox days.
Oh, that's good. I think we're having another SPF talks just on Botox.
I think so.
Right, coming up, Norma?
Yes, May the 22nd. So I realize now that since I've got this clock that kind of goes off, that it's actually a little after 2. So we've already been talking almost an hour, and I think we could probably go until 5 or 6 o'clock tonight, right? But we really wanted to kind of keep these at an hour long for, any particular talk. And I think, Brittany, you're right. We're probably going to have to come back and do some more of these. So, but we got Chloe. So let's go ahead. If anybody's got another question, get in line, or comment, get in line, and then let's finish these up for this afternoon. And then we'll come back and schedule some more of these, and we'll just make it open for them. And Brittany can go back down the list and finish up the list that she's got of comments. So Chloe, you got something you want to add on that? You're
Unmute,
muted.
Chloe.
I apologize for that. I tried pelvic floor therapy last year and it was not helpful. So I also rethinking I may have been misdiagnosed with spina bifida. But I have, if y'all have heard of that, I have, I just had the overreactive bladder and the bladder spasms, and I was diagnosed with neurogenic bladder. And I was just wondering and bowels too, with the constipation. And I was just wondering if it was common for people with HSP to have a neurogenic bladder. That's probably a physician question. And I apologize if y'all aren't equipped with that knowledge, but I figured I'd ask.
I know it is common to have bladder issues. I don't know if it's specifically what you just named for a bladder issue. Again, I'm not a physician, so I don't know, but I know it is common for people with HSP and PLS to have bladder issues. I know one gentleman in Pennsylvania who I was talking to who was recently diagnosed said, I had bladder issues my whole life and I never knew there was something wrong until other neurological issues started happening. And his first symptom was a bladder issue, and then it turned into a neurological, and then he found out he had HSP. So I think it is pretty common.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
your
it
time.
is. And Chloe, let me direct you to our website. And for those of you that are not familiar, which I would think most of you are, is on our website, which is sp-foundation.org. There is some information on there that you can probably see how that interacts with some of the SPGs. So you might want to go and research those and see what other numbers, SPGs that may really have problems regarding their bladders. So you might want to look at that.
They think I have SPG 33, but it doesn't really match up with what I have, like all the symptoms and everything. I did get an appointment to see Dr. Fink, and I go up in June because I did some research and found out he was the best. So
yeah, he does a lot.
And of course,
for us.
You're coming to the conference, and he will be there as well at the conference.
yeah, I signed up for the conference. My mom and I, and potentially my dad is going to come too.
Great. Well, it's going to be good to see you there.
Yes.
Okay, you guys. So again, check out all the things that are going on in the chat box, right? And we'll give you a few minutes to, kind of look at that. If you will go back to the chat box and you see down at the bottom where it says to everyone, and then there's like a little picture of a piece of paper and there's like a little smiley face. Can you guys see all that? Then next to that is 3 little dots that are kind of like going horizontally. So click on those dots and you see the very top thing says save chat, right? So if you guys will put all your comments in the save chat, then everybody can go in there and grab that information, and we will try to provide this information back. But most importantly, we're going to have this on our YouTube channel. So for those of you that are not familiar with the YouTube channel, I'd like for you to know that the easiest way to get to that is to go back to the website, go to the very bottom of the website, like on the footer band of the website. You will see all of the social media icons. There's one that's got the little YouTube circle. If you'll click on that, it'll take you directly to our channel. And we will be putting this information on the channel. And that way you can grab that information and you can see what we've kind of covered just in this particular session. And probably what we'll do is we'll just call this the feet. And that way, if we need to go back and maybe edit it and add more to the feet, then we've at least got all this together in one category. And then maybe even next time we can pick up on the bladder and then come back and talk about balance. And then I'm sure Brittany's got a list of other things that she wants to go over, and we didn't get a chance to go over all of those. So it's been a great afternoon, and I hope all you guys have enjoyed this. And if you do like having this, wave at me so I can see all you guys waving, right? You do like it. Thank you so much. I'm glad to see that. And then also I'd like to tell you that not only is there the little save thing on the bottom, and the 3 little dots, but if you'll scroll to the very top of all the chat, you can actually drag your cursor. It'll change everything to blue, and you can actually just kind of grab it and you can save it over to a Word document or save it into your notepad or somewhere else that you might find of interest to save stuff like that. Okay.
Brittany?
Yes.
Brittany, this is Russ Majors.
Hi, Russ.
Yes, I've got the page on my computer in front of me now, which has the rectangle which says SPF Talks 2022. It says upcoming meetings, and then it says Life Hacks, April 24th. How do I go from here to the website where I can leave you some information about the transfer board for the bed and about some fundraising?
Hey, let me offer a suggestion there, if you will, Russ. Why don't you email that to me? On the foundation, you can find this email address, but if you've got a pen handy, or if you can just kind of remember this real quickly, it's information, the little @ symbol, then the website, sp-foundation.org. So information at sp-foundation.org. And I'll put
Okay,
that
so
over
I'll
in
send the
chat box.
info. I'll send the info about the bedboard and about the fundraising then.
Yeah,
That would be
fundraising. We love
fantastic.
fundraising.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Okay. Because
Anything that you
right
guys
now,
want to send us? Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Ryan.
I'll go ahead and send it to you then today, as soon as we're off here.
That'd be great. Thank you,
you.
sir. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to remind you guys that we next have scheduled, and we'll come back and we're going to get with Brittany and figure out when another Sunday. Does this kind of work pretty good for most of you guys? Sunday afternoon at 1. And Sue, I'll come back and get your question here. Hang on with me. But the next discussion that we're going to have is on May the 22nd, and it's basically an open forum, and we may have some other folks that are committed to want to speak and start the conference or start the discussion, the talk. But it's going to be on May the 22nd at 1 o'clock. It's the open forum regarding Botox. So you guys get ready for that. And that will kind of cover, you know, the body all over, whoever does Botox, you know, wherever. So anybody else has got any other questions or comments, you guys get ready to get in line because we're fixing to end this. But Sue, go ahead. Sue Duffy, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm on mute. Actually, I was trying to do the wave thing and I hit the question thing, so I don't have a question, but this is a great session and I thank everybody.
Thank you, Sue. Bernard, you've got a comment or a question? Thank you, Jody. You're on mute, sir. Unmute your computer. Start all over.
Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
I have a condition that's been just getting worse and worse and worse, and I can't find anything to arrest it. I've been told sometimes it levels off, but I'm just wondering if there's a response to from everyone about, is it just progressive to the point of putting everyone in the wheelchair, or can people survive with this and still remain ambulatory?
That's really a hard question because everybody is different. It's about, like, you know, all of our hair and all of our color eyes. Everybody's body is different. It is obviously progressive, but again, I'd like to direct you to our website. If you haven't had a chance to really take time to review the information that's on there, there's probably some comments helpful to you in that regard. One of the things that Dr. Fink has repeatedly said, stay as mobile as possible. Stretch, exercise, anything that you can do, whether you can just raise your arms, that itself is helping the body. Try to find ways to lift yourself and stand at the kitchen table, the kitchen counter. You know, raise your leg up onto the vanity and stretch your body as much as possible. Keep your hip flexors as flexible as possible. And those are the things that you will find that Dr. Fink has just been adamant, constantly preaching, you know, from the podium and all the websites and all the talks that he does.
Okay. So have you known people who have stopped and just leveled off, or is it almost a universal progressive deterioration?
I think that there is both that. I think you will find some people that have leveled off, but then there could be something that re-triggers that, and then the progression starts again.
I see. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Kendra, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, there. I'm mute by accident. For Mr. Bernard, I just wanted to tell you, you know, I've had this for a long time, since 2015. I used to be in this wheelchair daily, daily, in excruciating pain. I finally just got sick of it. I have 5 kids, you know, and a husband, and I don't want to be a burden on them. I don't want them doing for me. I want to do for them. And so I want to reiterate what she said about exercising and stretching the muscles behind me. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I went and I bought these charts right here behind me, and they're just body weight stretching exercises. And I have started doing those daily. I do Beachbody. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Anyways, it's a fitness program. I do their active recovery stretches in my legs and my upper body, but I also hired a personal trainer who's local to me, who is familiar with hereditary spastic paraplegia. And with doing both, I have actually gained function back. So everyone is different. I'm not saying that you're going to gain function back, and I'm not saying it's going to get so bad that you're in a weird spell daily, because the fact is that we don't know. Everybody is different. But there is hope, because I have gotten functions back. Like, I can't lift my foot. I still have dropped foot, but I used to not be able to move that foot at all, like the slightest bit. And now I can barely move it. I mean, but it moves, and that gives me hope. It's better, not worse. But it does. You have to do your physical therapy and your stretches daily. And like I'm on a rest right now, so to speak, from my doctor, because I'm having heart problems. My heart's only working at 45% right now, and they don't know why. And they're trying to see if it's related to hereditary spastic paraplegia. I go on Tuesday for another test. So for these last 3 weeks, I have not been able to work out because I cannot get my heart rate up at all, because I'm risking a heart attack. And I have noticed like it's progressed more, like, because I haven't been able to work out. So now I can't lift my leg as high. I'm using my hip more to walk instead of using my leg muscles like I'm supposed to. So, you know, it takes daily working out. And I know sometimes it's discouraging. You're like, man, why am I working out? This is pointless. So I'm going to lose it anyways. Don't get discouraged. Don't, just keep doing it, you know, keep working through it. And we're all here for you.
Thank you.
That is very
Kendra,
good
that was
advice.
beautiful.
That
You're
was.
welcome.
Thank you, dear. And Noah has made some comments over here in the chat box about basically, you know, yoga. You know, I mean, just that. And of course, when I say yoga to my husband, he's like, I am not doing yoga. That's ungodly. Well, no, it's not. It is just basic stretching. And, you know, and that is just something that you've got to do. You just got to keep moving. You got to find ways to stand up, get the body to move, lift up, stand up. Just like you're doing there, Bernard. Just everybody raise your hands. Get the blood flowing, right? Gets it going up and down. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, guys. This is so encouraging. I so appreciate each and every one of you. When we first came up with the idea of SPF Talks, you know, we thought, yep, we're going to do it. Maybe there'll be 2 or 3 that'll get on, and that's 2 or 3 that we're thankful for. But this is just so wonderful that all of you guys have gotten on this afternoon and been a part of us. And thank you so very much. And we're going to get back together with Brittany and figure out when we're going to go back down the list or back up the body, if you will.
I have so much more that I would
time.
love to hear from you guys about. I was going to do hands and then a whole mental aspect. So I definitely have easily another hour with everybody participating so nicely. I'm really touched.
This is great. Okay, guys. So again, remember, May the 22nd is the next one. And we made it so easy that all you have to do is just go look at the link that we have. You can always go back to the website and look at that. We'll try to send you out a reminder on the e-blast. If you're not getting an e-blast, then you need to let us know. Email me at information@sp-foundation.org so we can make sure that you're on that e-blast list. We're going to be, you know, trying to keep these going. We're going to be trying to figure out how to, you know, make that work for everybody. And right now, it seems like everybody is pretty happy on Sunday afternoons at 1 Central. So we're going to kind of keep that rolling. And then we'll come back in and maybe do another day and time, depending on what, you know, somebody else's schedule will permit, and allow them to be the presenter. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a great